So yes, good morning. Of course, it's that time again. It's fitness fragrance review time. What fragrance am I looking at today? Terre Eau Givree. Again, I thought I'd done this one actually, but I haven't reviewed this one before. I speak about it a lot though, because it's an award-winning fragrance. Yes, it's been nominated for awards, but of course, if it doesn't get through and doesn't pass my fitness fragrance review today, then it's not really a winner, is it? If you haven't seen these before though, essentially what I do is I do a morning workout. So I go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, and walk back, all while wearing a fragrance. And I rank it on 5 categories. So it'd be its price, its versatility, its projection, its compliment factor, and its longevity. And we do a couple of tests during the day. So I spray my room, spray my arm, and see how long it survives a shower, all while wearing this. So yeah, as I was saying, this has won awards. I believe it was in 2018 this one won an award, but it's a flanker, of course, a very popular fragrance, the original Terre d'Hermès, my signature scent, a very earthy orange type fragrance. And yeah, this kind of follows that vibe, but a little bit more of a fresh one. So what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to talk about the note breakdown and yeah, see what I can detect. Okay, so what is the composition of Eau Givree? What makes up Terre d'Hermès Eau Givree? Well, let's have a look at the top note. So the top note is a citron, gives a sharp, icy citrus freshness that opens in the fragrance brightly. It's definitely that, and I think you probably can't tell too much, but there's like this frosted glass on the back. Very nice. It gives off that icy impression even before you've sprayed the fragrance, and you definitely do get this very, very refreshing citrus uplift, and it's very zesty, and it's certainly icy. That's what makes it quite good, I think, for even those cold mornings, which obviously we'll talk about versatility later. But yeah, the citron definitely detect. But it's in the heart where I think actually I detect more of this fragrance in particular. Juniper berry adds a crisp, aromatic, gin-like coolness at the core. So again, icy, fresh, cool. And I think it's that juniper berry that's really sweet. It's not like a lemon sort of sharp citrus. It's just that sort of, yeah, nice sweet coolness more than a, yeah, really zesty one, but it has definitely got that zest in, as we said. Spicy notes provide a subtle warmth that contrasts the chilled citrus. Don't get too much of the spice, definitely more citrus heavy, that's overpowering this, but yeah, it has got that sort of sizzling peppery feeling, and it doesn't say anything about pepper, and I wonder if that is coming from those spicy notes, like black pepper is. Base notes, woods creates a dry, earthy backbone that grounds the freshness. This is where I think Hermes are brilliant. They almost do this feeling like you're walking in spring woods, and it has that feeling about it. It's very vegetable, very natural smelling, and yeah, it just feels like spring essentially. I think the woods are definitely doing that. It brings a bit more maturity round to the fragrance off. Mineral notes add a clean, stony vibe that enhances the frosted effect. Get a little bit like the original Terre d'Hermès. You can get that vibe. I can kind of tell it's an Hermès fragrance, and in that vibe of Terre d'Hermès, it's just that citrus on the top. So I think that's coming from those mineral notes, which are also in the original. And then musk softens the dry down with a smooth, clean finish. Again, almost that spring vibe. So what I think is brilliant with this, just looking at those notes, I could almost imagine and picture the fact these notes are all in it. Sometimes you look at them and you think, how's that in there and why is that in there? But all of these feel like it's made essentially a very realistic, outdoorsy, spring type fragrance with that nice clean citrus feeling and a little bit of spiciness in the background. So yeah, that feels very accurate to me. Very, very accurate. And yeah, I can't wait to put it through its paces today. So what I'm going to do today, essentially I'm going to do the first 2 categories on my run. So we're going to look at price / value for money for this fragrance. This is a big 175ml bottle, by the way. And yeah, we'll also look at its versatility, how much you can use it in different situations. It's super stormy out there. It's chucking it down with rain. I'm hoping it's going to clear up later today. But yeah, we'll try and speak as clear as I can on my run. Stop burning off, Harry. Get out there, because people don't want to hear you waffling on. Let's go. Anyone else bored of the rain and the wind? I certainly am, but it's never enough to stop me from running and doing these reviews. So let's do the first round, price / value for money. So gave a couple of prices there, because as I mentioned earlier, I've got a 175ml bottle, but you can also get OG for an 100ml. And sort of the rough prices at the moment, now there's obviously a bit of a Black Friday sale going on at the minute, but you're talking about £70 for 100ml and about £76 for 175ml. So there's not much in it for quite a lot more of the fragrance. So do I think that's good value for money? Well, I think if I was blindfolded, I could tell this is a step up from your average sort of citrus scent. There's a lot more going on. The complexity of the notes, you know, those woodsy notes, all those things. The blend is amazing in this. It really feels like there's nothing competing against each other. Those mineral notes are lovely, you get that Terre d'Hermes original vibe, but the citron, the juniper berries, the musk, all of it, it just smells like it's not the cheap, harsh, chemical sort of notes you get in some fragrances. And I think for £76, that's amazing value for money. You know, if you like that sort of note, right, that clean, fresh, icy cool sort of fragrance, it's absolutely great for that. I think it definitely feels like you're smelling a fragrance that has that higher quality. And then £70 for 100ml, that I still think it's worth it personally as well. But what I would say is, because they are still quite big bottle sizes, for some people that is quite an investment. That I think the quality is there. The quality is definitely there for that price. But if you're someone who doesn't really know what this fragrance is, or you're not sure about it, that's an investment. That's a lot to sort of take in. It doesn't matter how good it is. Some people aren't going to like this as well. And I think if you're looking at, you know, the notes there, you might almost think, well, this could just be a boring citrus. I don't think it is at all. I think it's got that quality about it and enough complexity that you can kind of, and we'll talk about versatility later, that there's a lot of situations you can wear this in. So I think it definitely is worth it. You've obviously got the brand name as well, and there's very recognisable brand. It's got that sophistication there about it. So I think it's absolutely fine for price, but I do almost think that a 30ml bottle might have just helped with this phrase for people to say it's good value for money. Because if you're not sure, I don't think you're going to buy it. But that's all I can mark it down on. Quality of the scent, yes, great. It's just that sort of size of the bottle for what you're getting might be a bit too steep for some people, so it might be worth waiting for offers. So I'm going to say, only for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's a really daring scent which is going to really make anyone hate it at all, so I don't think you're going to feel too ripped off, but you might also think it's too simplistic a note breakdown to take that risk. Anyway, I'll get out the wind and then we'll go on to versatility. To versatility. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down, different ages, different occasions, different seasons? Well, I think if you buy this one, it doesn't make the original redundant. I think you can certainly have both. I want to say that first of all. So if you're someone considering buying this and thinking, well, does it just do the same job? No, I don't think it does. This is a much lighter citrus, but it definitely has that classiness and sophistication and refinement about it. Again, the blend, the woodsy notes, the mineral notes, juniper berries, not got that real sweetness that maybe a younger person would appreciate. But I think a younger person, male, female, could pull this off. I really do. I don't think it's got that daring quality, even if it's got a little bit more maturity and sophistication. And then I think anyone from, say, 18 upwards, if you're into your fragrances, can like this. It doesn't matter how old you get. My dad likes this one. And, you know, my mum always mentions how much she likes it whenever I put it on. It's a lovely icy citrus. And with that, you know, that gives a lot of versatility. That citrus notes, that they're not the best sometimes at cutting through the cold, they're more of a summer one. But as we were saying earlier, you've got this gin-like sort of smell from the juniper berries, the spicy notes, the woods, and that citrus, which gives this iciness. And that iciness, obviously ice, it's like an icy lemonade in that sense. It gives you that sort of wintry vibe as well. On a cold day, that fresh iciness means you can certainly wear it in the fall and winter if you really want to. And I'll talk about longevity later. This isn't bad for that, from my experience of wearing this fragrance as well. So I think this is signature scent worthy. I definitely think you can wear signature scent. You can dress it up if you want to. Personally, I want to make a bit smokier, a bit more leather, maybe a bit more vanilla sweetness. But the woods in this mean you can definitely wear it for that. And certainly those formal, smart, casual summer occasions, brilliant. If you're going for on a date, certainly in the day, it'll be absolutely fine for that as well. So I'm really struggling here to think of anything that I can really mark this down on for versatility. I don't think a younger person would appreciate it as much, but if you're wearing it, I can't see anyone not saying good things about it. When I did my job before, I've worn fragrances similar to this, not this one, and I was working with a group of lifeguards who were 17, 18, they always complimented my citrus fragrances more than anything. So I'm going to give versatility here 10 out of 10. I think it's a really versatile scent, and obviously we were talking about price a minute ago. The fact you could use this in all situations, even the gym, Yes, it's a little bit grown up, a bit, maybe a bit serious for that, but it's not awful, and it will do the job. If you just want one to do it all, that's fine. And I think if I'm paying £70 for one for it to do the job, I'd be more than happy to pick this one. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for that. The run done. Weather wasn't very kind to me. It looks like the middle of the night, doesn't it? But it's just gone 9:15 essentially. Do 10 sprays of my room. So if you haven't seen this, I'm now going to do projections. So essentially I've sprayed my room 10 times. I'm going to go downstairs, talk about how much I noticed the fragrance during my run. Did I notice it? 10 minutes time, I'll come back upstairs and we'll see how much this filled the room. And then I'll give a score on projection. That smells good. Right, let's head down. I need a drink. I needed a coffee today. So, how much did I notice Terre au Givree during my run? Well, to be honest, the weather was awful. Absolutely awful. Windy, rainy. But I noticed it about 5 times. First 2 times was when I was actually running north. So the wind was coming from the south, changed direction, and then I did get a whiff of it. I didn't really have to smell it then. The third time I did, this was about 45 minutes later, about 10 miles into my run. I did 14 miles. I had to do that. I just wanted to see if it was still there, because obviously my top had been very wet, and as you see, I sprayed my top, and it was still there. So I can still smell it on my top, but obviously it's not really kicking off now. It's not projecting so much. And then I did notice it just at the end, stretching essentially. But yeah, if I'm being honest, it's not that strong. Look, do I think it's a really, really strong projector? No, I think longevity is going to be its highlight today. That being said, it is still there, and I do think it will stay on your clothes in that sense, so it will project. And today, as I said, the weather and everything went against it. So I'm really interested to see, once I finish this coffee, go upstairs and just see what it gets for this room spray test. I think at the moment, I'm probably guessing it's going to be about 7 out of 10, but yeah, you never know. It might surprise me. As I said, the quality of the oils in this feel really good, and for that reason, it might do better than I expect. See how much I can smell the fragrance. So I don't think I'm going to be able to smell it from the top of the stairs, which I can't. So it's going to definitely be my room when I'm going to notice it. Yeah, kind of as I expected. This isn't a strong projector. 15-20%. It's actually worse than probably I expected. Again, I haven't had my door shut, and again, as it's windy, my room does have a few sort of gaps in the window, so maybe that's not helping. But I don't think this is a really, really strong projector. I think if you look at the notes again and we look at what this fragrance is, essentially it's more of a lemony version than the sort of original Terre d'Hermès. It's more citrus, obviously orange in the original, but I think Au Givree is definitely more of that citrusy sort of lighter type fragrance, more summery type scent. And I think with the juniper berries and that, the woods, there's no sticky notes. That's what I'm probably trying to say. You haven't got those sweet vanilla notes, and it's not done that well. So I said it would be about a 7. I'm going to mark it down one more. I'm going to take it down to a 6, because I think, as I said, factors have gone against it a little bit today, and I do think in the right situation this would do better. But yeah, it's certainly not as projected quite as much as I thought. But as I said, I'll give a little bit of leeway because of those factors I mentioned earlier. So 6 out of 10, not too bad. Right, what we're going to do then, head to the gym. I'm going to talk about compliment factor on the way. What's my experience of this fragrance? Have I had any compliments? And do I think it will be a compliment-getting fragrance? Okay, I'm a little bit late today. It's just gone 9:30. Quick spray on my arm. Let's do 5. And this is for longevity. So what I'll do later, once I've got to the gym, I'll obviously do my workout. And then I'll have a shower. And that's when I'll smell my arms again to see how much this fragrance lasts. So going to be about 3 hours time essentially, and we'll see how it does. Oh, I'll see. I never get bored of it. I never get bored of that smell. Okay, then, so compliment factor. Do I think this is a compliment getting fragrance? Well, let's talk about my experiences with this. I think I've had the fragrance about a year, and I'll be honest, it's just never really been a situation. It's nothing wrong with it at all, where I felt like I needed to wear it really, just because I've been doing sport jobs in recent times. Now I'm working in food, and I just never quite felt like it's the sort of fragrance I really want to wear with that. You know, being Okay, yes, it's an outdoor summer, but it's not one that I'm thinking I'm going to wear outside for compliments, essentially. That being said, when I've worn it at home, and it's very rare for my brother to do this, but my brother always mentions it. He always says, oh, you've got that on, and he knows what it is, and he has a lot of phrases. He doesn't mention them. He doesn't always say that smells really nice. He only mentions like what it is, and you can smell it, and that's always a sign to me that I know he likes it, and he has considered buying this. So the fact my brother's always mentioned that is great. And obviously, as I said, my mum's mentioned how much she likes it as well. So I think the fact they've both mentioned, they don't normally go out of their way to mention it, probably says it is a very good fragrance and is very good for compliments. But do I think it really is a compliment getting fragrance? It's not, as we were saying on the projection score, it's not that sweet sort of fragrance that you'd expect for compliments. I think this needs to tie in with your personality. I think personality will affect compliment factor here. If you're that person who's outgoing, brash, wants to be noticed with their fragrance, and just wants to stand out, be the main man at the party, this isn't it. This isn't your fragrance for that. It's not that sort of one. It's not playful, it's not juvenile. It's just not that outgoing person. For me, this is the person who likes to sort of hide a bit in the background and suddenly wants everyone to notice that they're wearing a nice fragrance. And it's a friendly scent. It's the sort of scent where everyone goes, he's friendly, he's approachable, he's well put together, he's clean, he looks after himself, and he's just a really nice guy. I think that's what this one does, and I think for me it suits me more, because it's the sort of scent where people will think he hasn't really tried to smell nice, but you could almost go, pretend that, oh, I don't really know what I put on today, but it's all well what you put on, and you do want it for compliments. But people won't see it like that, because it isn't that brash in your face type scent. It's a much more citrusy, high quality, just a really high quality citrus scent, and that will make you stand out, but in a way where you're more friendly, approachable, not the outgoing person, the person, as I said, who's really well put together in their life, who just wants to sort of be in the background, but actually deep down knows he's wearing something that will stand out. And if you're that sort of personality, this one suits you. So what I'm going to say for this one, look, it's not that sweet caramel, but it's versatile in the sense you can use it for all the occasions, like I said earlier, and that's going to get a good pool size for compliments as well. So I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Of course, if I get any at the gym today, as always, we'll bump it up to a 10. So workout done, and it's kind of like I expected, and how I've had this fragrance, or worn this fragrance over the last year. The longevity feels pretty good. I didn't get any compliments, but it's definitely still there, and I think it's just going to hold on. Maybe there's mineral notes, maybe those spiciness. I just think they might hold on a little bit in the shower test, and I'm hoping for a good score in this. It's very pleasant, and actually I did sort of say earlier it's a little bit too serious for a gym scent, but actually it's very nice. I've said this before, it's got a bit of a tomato greenhouse type vibe to it, and for me it's fine for the gym. It's not overpowering. Again, I'm quite glad actually in some ways the projection of this isn't too strong in that way, because that actually makes it fine for the gym. It's not a gym fragrance, but it does have that scent. So what I'm going to do, have a shower, and then we'll give a score on longevity. So it's just gone 12 o'clock, just left the gym. One thing I love with these fitness fragrance reviews is how much the weather actually changes during these. Left this morning in the darkness and it was really windy and raining, and now it's really quite still and it's looking like a nice afternoon is on the horizon, so all good. So how has it survived? How has the fragrance survived from the shower? How well has it done on longevity? So time to smell my arms. Yes, pretty well. To be honest, it's probably about 55-60% as strong as when I applied it a few hours ago. Now look, that isn't up there with some of my other fragrances. Some recently have done really, really well for longevity, but I don't expect that with this type of fragrance. I'm still getting that kind of icy citrus type vibe, and again, whether that's the juniper berries or the citron, I think it probably is both of them, but it's almost being held together because of the woods and the other sort of more sophisticated notes that are in the base and a bit in the heart as well. So that isn't bad at all. But if I wasn't getting soaking wet from a shower, of course, and sweating from exercise in the rain and the wind today, this would get you through the day absolutely fine. And for a citrus scent, or mainly a summer-based scent, but certainly transition seasons as well, I think that's very good, and I think that's testament again to the quality of the oils and the composition in this, and the blend. I need to just reiterate that again. The blend of this is perfect. It all just feels like it just is all in harmony, and yeah, for that reason, it's pretty impressive. But it's certainly not, as I said, it's not up there with like those real strong night out ones. You wouldn't wear this for a night out if you wanted to, you know, really fill up a room or anything. But it will certainly stay on your skin. It will stay on your clothes. And for that reason, people will want to get near you in that sort of more intimate type environment. So I'm going to give it 8.5. I think it's just purely because it's more of a summer-based fragrance. We are back at last. It's been a long morning doing a lot of exercise. How many steps have I done today? 39,046, all while wearing this fragrance here, Terre Eau Givree. So what was the total score based on the 5 rounds I did today? 41.5 out of 50. I think that's a fantastic score. And I've actually got the original right next to me as well. And it's very hard for flankers to do well at times because when you've had this really popular scent, some people just see it as a marketing point to make more money and just profit off the original. This one to me stands out in its own right. I said it earlier, I don't think this is redundant in my collection. I'm very happy to have both. It's only really been marked down to the scores. So the size of the bottle, £70 for 100ml, 175ml. I think it's worth it, but I can see that being quite an investment for a lot of people for a citrus-based scent. But in terms of the smell of it, it is a super. It is a step up. I always say I normally buy cheap for citrus summer fragrances. Not in this case, and I'm very happy to have it. It's really nice icy citrus, that woods and the musk. They just sort of blend it all so well together, but it's the juniper berry and the citron that really stand out in this. It just makes this lovely icy lemon type fragrance. And as I said, that frosted design on the back really symbolises that. And it only really also got marked down a little bit then on projection. I think it would have done better on a different day in the summer when it's probably more suitable, but the weather's been awful today, and I just think that affected its overall score and just the wind getting in my room. But look, do I recommend it? 100%. I think it's a fantastic flanker. It's certainly not a flop, and yeah, it's won an award before, and I think for a reason. I've mentioned this many times. Hermes do the best natural vegetal type smells, and this just makes you feel like you're walking through a lovely spring garden. So you have a garden with loads of flowers blooming. It just feels like you're walking through a garden of flowers, and it's just classy citrus scent, and I can't wait to wear it for the rest of the year and many more years to come. When this bottle's done, normally I have enough of a fragrance when I get to the end. This one I think I'll just buy straight again. So definitely recommend it. 41.5 out of 50. That's a pretty good score, and yeah, certainly going to be wearing it for the rest of the day. I'll put a bit more on. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today. Got a Love a Lush fitness fragrance review coming up tomorrow. So yeah, Yognog is the one. So if you do know Yognog, it's an all-time favourite of mine. But yeah, we'll have to see how it stands up in its fitness fragrance review. But thank you very much for watching today. Catch you later.